श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Very good pronunciation by everybody, you know? Very nice. Good to hear. So during these 3 days, as you know, we are going to discuss 5 verses from chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 7 to 11. And here, Lord Krishna prescribes 20 values for a seeker of knowledge. If you look at the 11th verse, the second line says, Etad jnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. Etad jnanam iti proktam. Etad this group of 20 values, 20 virtues, call them values, call them virtues, call them divine qualities. This group of 20 values, the virtues, the divine qualities, jnanam iti proktam. It is said to be jnanam, it is said to be knowledge. So Lord Krishna calls this group of values or virtues as jnanam, as knowledge. And therefore, these values are the most important in the context of knowledge, but they are important even for every human being to live a happy and fulfilled life. So not only are these values important for the seeker of knowledge, but they are important for every human being because everyone wants to be happy. And these are the means of happiness. Therefore, to be happy, one should follow these values. And unfortunately, not following the values makes a person unhappy. Following the values makes a person happy, And violating the values makes the person unhappy. So there is no choice between happiness and unhappiness. Everyone wants to be happy and no one wants to be unhappy. And therefore, to satisfy our basic need of being happy, equally the need of avoiding unhappiness. Sukha prapti, dukkha nivritti. Sukha prapti, attaining happiness. Dukkha nivritti, getting rid of unhappiness. So if we observe our life, our day-to-day activities, we will find that whatever we do or not do, everything has behind it this motivation of either attaining happiness or getting rid of unhappiness. That's our life. This is the life of every living being. It is not merely that a human being wants to be happy. Every living being wants to be happy. It's not that we do not want to be unhappy. No creature wants to be unhappy. So this is a universal desire to become happy and become free from unhappiness. That universal desire, without exception, reveals that this is the fundamental reality of life. What is fundamental reality? That which equally applies to everybody. It's not something personal that I alone want happiness and someone else wants unhappiness. If that was the case, the happiness could not have been a universal value. But not only every human being, every living being wants to be happy. Therefore, happiness becomes the basic reality of life. Thus, we are all seeking that basic reality, which in simple words means happiness. In technical words, it can be called Brahman. It's called Atma itself. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Vijnana Anandam Brahma Satyam Jnana. All of these words, which are beautiful words, all of them ultimately amount to one simple thing. That is the happiness. So since happiness is important to us, not only important, the most important, not only most important, the only important thing in our life. Therefore, it is obvious that that which leads to happiness should also become the only important thing, isn't it? If happiness is the most important or only important thing in my life, then that which is the means to that happiness, which leads me to happiness, which makes me happy also, should become the most important or the only important thing, isn't it? And therefore, when Lord Krishna says that this group of values or virtues is called knowledge, this knowledge is a very wonderful word and you have been listening to it since last 3 months. The knowledge becomes important because there is ignorance in our life. Unfortunately, we are born ignorant. On one hand, we want happiness. On the other hand, we do not know where that happiness is. not only we do not know where it is, but we have this misconception of looking for happiness where it is not. What is ignorance? Understand? Ignorance is not simply not knowing something in this particular case. Normally, ignorance means not knowing something. That's called ignorance. Absence of knowledge is called ignorance usually. But this ignorance is a little more dangerous. If you simply did not know this truth, there would be one thing. But this ignorance has two aspects, as you must have heard. One is that it veils the true nature of reality, in Sanskrit called avaranam, or veiling, meaning not knowing what the true nature is. And second is called vikshepa, projecting what it is not. This example you must have heard a million times. Rope snake example, right? I don't think that in any Vedanta class can go without rope snake, clay and pot. Why do Vedantis like rope snake so much? Because it very beautifully explains the nature of ignorance. In that rope snake, as we know, what is in reality a piece of rope is mistaken by us to be a snake. Here two aspects are involved. One is that I do not know that object as rope, number one. Not knowing what it is, I do not know that object lying in front of me is a rope. This is called avaram, not knowing. But it doesn't stop there. What happens? I see the object as a snake. If I did not know the rope, I may have been indifferent, I would have walked away. And at the most, I would have lost the advantage of knowing the rope if I was looking for a rope, let us say. When I do not know that the rope is lying here, then I lose some advantage. But seeing that object as a snake, you know what it does? It creates in me fear. So what is causing me fear? Can you tell me? Yeah, that's a very technical ignorance too. But snake is causing fear, isn't it? Or what I think is a snake is causing fear, right? But in reality, what is it? It's rope. So what is causing fear? You know, rope is causing fear on account of ignorance. Rope, on account of ignorance, appears to be a snake, and it is my conclusion that this object is a snake, that is what causes fear. But in reality, what it is rope. So someone who knows what is there, he would not understand, Swami, what's the problem? I'm walking and I just stop all of a sudden. And I'm shivering and something happening to me. So my friend who is walking along with me, he knows, he can see. He cannot understand the Swami's reaction of, are you perspiring, Swamiji? What happened to you? Your blood pressure has risen. That is because, in my opinion, in my mind, I think that it is a snake. So it's fear. Please tell me, is there a valid reason for the fear? Not really. However, for the person who sees a snake, the fear is real, because snake is here. And that fear cannot go unless I know the object as a rope. Otherwise, otherwise the fear will not go. Similarly, same problem exists about ourselves. The self or Atma is like a rope, and we are born with the ignorance of the true nature of ourselves, meaning that we do not know what our true nature is. As you must have heard in the last 3 months, the Vedantic teacher, Vedantic scriptures every day tell us one thing. What is it? Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, that thou art. You see, what is all there is Brahman. Right? You know that sentence? Where is that? On that plaque? What is there is Ishvara, Brahman. Understand, there includes me also, isn't it? Not all there is Brahman, but here also is Brahman. That here reveals the Aparoksha Jnana. What is here, what I experience is also Brahman, meaning that my own self is Brahman. Call it Brahman, call it big, boundless, limitless, Anandam, Anandam, happiness. So all along the Upanishads reveal this basic reality about myself, that you are limitless. However, how do I take myself to be? A limited being. Just like rope snake, these two aspects are involved about my own self. Number one, I do not know what the true nature of myself is, that I am limitless, I am happiness. Well, if you like, otherwise I am peace, that love, peace, happiness is my nature, compassion is my nature. In simple words, it means that I am a simple, beautiful, kind, loving person. In Brahman is very difficult for you to visualize. You can simply say, who am I? Intrinsically or inherently, I am a kind, loving, beautiful person. You can tell. Even others don't tell you. They may tell you you're ugly. Thank you. Oh, you are cruel, Swami. Maybe. Because that's where my mask may be. Maybe so. But in reality, I'm kind, loving, beautiful person. That is the reality about me. But how do I look upon myself? Swami, I'm no good. I'm cruel. I'm jealous, meaning that my perception or my conclusion on myself is quite contrary to what my true nature is. Just as it is the perception of snake that causes fear, so also it is my perception that I am a limited, helpless, insecure creature. Whereas fearlessness is my nature, I am a fearful, insecure creature, always on the guard. Take care, beware, don't trust, or it is dangerous. Learn karate. You learn, but what I'm saying is fear. So you can see how we are suffering not because of what we are, but because of what we take ourselves to be what we are. The fear is not caused by rope It is caused by what I think that object is. So how? The ignorance has the two aspects of not knowing what it is and taking it to be contrary to what it is. Similarly, self-ignorance is not knowing the true nature of myself and taking myself to be quite contrary to what I am. Whereas, limitlessness is my nature, take myself to be a limited being. Happiness is my nature, but I take myself to be an unhappy creature. Freedom is my nature, but I take myself to be a helpless, dependent creature. And unfortunately, our life is based on our perception of ourselves. What I think, what I desire, what I do, the way I come across, the way I interact, the way I live my life is all based on my perception of myself. Not what I truly am. It is how I perceive myself to be. Like an actor who may be a millionaire, a billionaire, isn't it? And is playing the role of a beggar, let us say. So what will be ignorance in case of this fellow? Before going to stage, if he had a little too much, before going to stage, in the words of Swami, too many lights, light. There is this beer, and this beer light, whatever that means. Anyway, so I guess you can indulge. Light means it is light. Doesn't intoxicate you. So when too many light inside, so it's just too many lights outside, So as our Swami would say, while this one is driving, he is lights everywhere. And stops where he should not stop, and this is where he should not. So it is not what is that is important, it is how I perceive it that is important. It's not what I am that unfortunately determines what I do. It is how I perceive myself is what determines what I am, what I do, how I live, how I feel, everything. So this is how self-ignorance is causing this distorted perception of myself. And what is self-knowledge? Self-knowledge will be the right perception of myself. So when you understand what ignorance is, then what knowledge is becomes very clear to us. What is ignorance? That which causes the false or distorted perception of myself. And what is knowledge? That which enables me to have the true perception of myself. Perception or knowledge, same thing. And for that we expose ourselves with the teaching of Vedanta. Every day Vedanta teacher tells us this one thing. Almost every class this will come once. You are Brahman. Everything is Brahman. Really there was nothing else to tell us. This is all they can tell you. And then go round and round and come back here only. One thing. But in spite of being told that, it does not necessarily create an impact upon us as it should. This story I tell often. But one Mahatma, one Swamiji, these Swamis generally are wandering monks But during the time of monsoon, they do not travel and therefore they camp in any one place. And during that time, they give discourses morning, evening. So thus there is one Swamiji teaching Vedanta for 2 months. And there are very sincere people listening, many occupying first row, second row, and then you can see their faces are smiling, responding to you. And that enthuses the teacher also. So here is the listener in front row and always in tune with what the teacher is saying and responding. But towards the end, only a few days are remaining for this camp, for this session. That Swamiji found this person was unhappy. Last 3 days he is not happy, he is disturbed. Otherwise always smiling, responding very positively, but now he is very disturbed. So Swamiji called him. He says, please come and see me. He said, something seems to be the matter. I've always seen you to be a very happy person. But since last 3 days I find that you are upset about something. Is anything the matter? That person says, yes, Swamiji. Something, what happened? Swamiji, 3 days ago, after the evening talk, I was leaving the lecture hall. And I was in the mood of what you have taught us. So I left the lecture hall, put on my shoes and starting to walk away. And somebody came from behind me, got hold of my neck, stopped me. Said, hey, are you blind? I was shocked. What are you saying? Can't you see? What happened? Do you know what shoes you are wearing? When I looked at the shoes I was wearing, I realized that they were not my shoes. They were very similar, but not mine, I realized. This was a new pair of the shoes, the same make which I used to wear. And this person said, you are blind? Are you a thief? You are taking away my shoes? Swamiji, he told me blind. He told me thief. How can you do that? I'm an honest person. I never do that. He accused me like this. So I can't sleep at night. For 3 nights, I lost my sleep. Swamiji says, look, for 2 months, every morning and evening, I am telling you, you are Brahman, you are Brahman, you are Brahman. That has not touched you at all. And once this fellow says you are blind, you are thief, now that has, affected you so much. So the knowledge can take place only when those words reveal their meaning in our mind. That's called knowledge. Right now I am uttering these words and they create in your mind the meaning. And hopefully you understand the same sense in which I intend to communicate. So these words are a medium for communicating what is in my mind, so that you also get the same understanding or perception that I have. That's the purpose of communication. So basically, who is communicating with us? Shruti is communicating with us. Upanishad is communicating with us. And what is that communication? You are Brahman. What all there is Brahman. Limitless. Or in simple words, beautiful, loving, kind. Kindness is a reality, love is a reality, beauty is a reality. What is beautiful? But these words, if they created a corresponding perception or meaning in my mind, that is when knowledge would have taken. When I see myself as Brahman, or see everything as Brahman, that is when the knowledge has taken place. Not that I do not know. Not that I do not know that I am Brahman, everything is Brahman, I do. And still, it does not seem to create as much impact as those words were. You are a stupid fellow, stupid. Our Swami used to say, you must have heard this. 4 people are going. From here, this one person calls them one by one. Hey Sridhar, Sridhar looks back. Hey Narayana, Narayana looks back. Hey Ashok, Ashok looks back. Hey stupid, all 4 look back. This is a joke. That shows the kind of perception we have about ourselves. So this is what our perception about ourselves is. That's why we sympathetically respond to that. In fact, the reason why this person was so upset about being called a thief, etc., is because it touched a chord in him. Otherwise, you don't care. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The fact that these words affect us seems that it touches some nerve within me. And that shows what kind of perception I have about myself, what knowledge I have about myself today, and how that so-called knowledge or ignorance, how it is causing all these sadness, unhappiness, conflicts in my life. If the self-ignorance did not affect my life, I would not care. There are many things I do not know. I don't know what a black hole is, and now some other entity somebody discovered is working on. Is kind of black hole which also which makes, I guess, it reverses itself. A black hole sucks everything. So sometimes black hole releases everything. I have no idea. And when I read that language, it makes no sense to me because those words, I know the English words that is and was and etc. Otherwise, nothing can. But anyway, that ignorance doesn't seem to do anything in my life. I can still go to work, I can still make my living, I can do everything. That ignorance, there are many things about which I am ignorant. We are ignorant of most of the things anyway. There is very little that we know. Sage Bharaturi said that when I knew little, I thought that I knew everything. Now that I know something, I realize what little I know. That is true. But that is one kind of, it's called aparavidya. You heard this word, aparavidya. The knowledge of the inferior, which is fine. But what is important is the paravidya, the knowledge of the self. It's that ignorance which is causing it. Other ignorance doesn't cause much problem. It may cause problem about our working life, perhaps. So you may need to equip yourself with some new Swamiji. This computer technology is changing every day, and you have to keep up with it. If you go to work after 2 years, you're no good because it's outdated. So that knowledge also is important. I don't say it is not important, but only that which concerns you. But otherwise, that at the most you may not make as much salary as you would otherwise. But other than that, but this ignorance causes all this sadness, conflicts, misery in our life. And therefore, it is important to remove that ignorance. And ignorance can be removed in the best way by exposing ourselves to the teachings. It's called Shravanam. So we'll talk about that. One of the values later will come. But this Shravanam or listening to the teacher would become a blessing to us provided our mind was able to see the meaning of the words in the same way as that the origin. What is the origin? Upanishad. And through the teacher. If we see the meaning of those words as Upanishad sees, as the sages see, that is when the knowledge would have taken place. That's the knowledge. What's that knowledge is simple. That I am what I am seeking to be, happiness is my nature. Fullness is my nature. And that is where we come to the mind now. That is an important faculty called mind, which comes into play even in case of the knowledge. Always in knowledge, you require the proper disposition of mind. Even for worldly knowledge also, we require a proper preparation. Is it not so? But Swami always used to give example. This fellow goes to a professor of calculus. How to learn calculus. So that professor asks him, what is 5 plus 4? He says 8. 5 plus what? Oh, thank you. Because many people did not think there was anything wrong in that. But he says, if you don't even have this basic knowledge, how are you going to learn For learning anything, we require preparation, of course. Preparation of mind. They call it samskara. Samskara means the preparation, the training, the orientation of the mind. Even to understand these words that I am uttering, the listener should have the samskara of English language. And the subject matter we are talking about, some basic samskara orientation is required in the mind. Then this talk will make sense. So everything requires preparation. So also when we are told you are Brahman, for that statement to become meaningful to me, for that statement to reveal its meaning in my mind, I require samskara, preparation, orientation. And it makes sense to me. Therefore, for the knowledge to take place, we certainly require Shravanam, listening to a teacher of Vedanta. And the teacher does all the best that he or she can do to unfold the teaching of the scriptures. But something is required on my part also. What is required on my part? That is that samskara. Samskrutam antahkaranam. Samskrutam, purified mind. Yatanto yoginasmin paschantyatmanyavasthitam yatanto pikritatmana nainam pashyante chetasaha. Have you heard this? Yatanto yoginah pashyanti atmana. What is within this? Yatanto akritaatmanah nayanam pashyanti. This is 15th chapter. You may be hearing this perhaps at the time of dinner, lunch, etc. So this statement comes there. You see, verse number 11. You can look at it. Yatanto yoginasyanam pashyanti atmani avasthitam. The Lord Krishna says that the yogis, the students, the seekers, atmani avasthitam. So that abiding in myself, or what is myself, they see. So when they make the right effort, they see the truth about themselves in their own mind. Yatanto pikritatmanaha nainam pashyanti acetasaha. Akritatmana, asamskritatmana, but those who have not made their mind sanskritam. Sanskritam means, Sanskrit language is one. Sanskritam means refined, purified, Samskara means purification. So there Lord Krishna says that who sees the true nature of the self? One who has made the mind samskritam, refined. Therefore, for the knowledge, we require the teacher to unfold the meaning of the scriptures, and simultaneously we also require this prepared mind. You must have heard this word, antahkarana shuddhi, the purification of mind. So that also becomes a means of knowledge, you follow? So, the scripture as a pramanam, the words coming from the lips of the teacher are the means of knowledge, accompanied with the right prepared mind. So this is where now, this aspect is where we have to work on. One is what the teacher does, other is what we need to do in terms of preparing ourselves. So this is where these values come into place. Self-knowledge is knowledge of true nature of self. And that I am limitless, I am Brahman, that is called knowledge. These 5 verses occur in which chapter of the Gita, you remember? No? 13th chapter. Anybody remembers what is the title of this chapter? Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga. The subject matter of the 13th chapter is Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga. Vibhaga means dividing, separating. Kshetra Kshetrajna. Kshetra, field. Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Kshetra, anatma, non-self. Kshetrajna. Kshetra and jna. Kshetram, janati, iti kshetrajna. One, the knower of the field is called kshetrajna. One who knows the kshetra is called kshetrajna. So right here there are 2 entities which are all mixed up with each other, lumped together. This ignorance with which we are born, what it does is, as we say, it creates a distorted perception of myself. How? It makes me take what is anatma, non-self, as myself. We are born with this, so there is nobody's fault that we are ignorant. Nobody's fault that ignorance makes us take anatma as atma, the non-self as self. And therefore, in the very first verse of that chapter, Lord Krishna gives us a division. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Vibhaga, division of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, of the field and knower of the field, or object and subject symbol. Kshetra means object, Kshetrajna means subject. So that the 2 entities, object and subject. Now you know what an object is. This clock is an object, meaning that clock I am not. That's very clear to everybody. Microphone, I am not. Table, I am not. Isn't it? Thank God. Otherwise there would have been many more problems, but this is... In short, whatever is outside the body, I know that I am not. It's called kshetra. Kshetra means object. Anatma, non-self. I am kshetrajna, the knower of the kshetra, knower of the object and the subject. Unfortunately, when it comes to this body, we seem to be deluded there. My hand, for example, is as as much a knowledge of my perception as this clock is it not so? I know this hand as well as I know the clock. Be better. My hands and my legs and my head, my body in short, is very well the object of my awareness, is it not so? I'm aware of the body, just as I'm aware of the clock. When it comes to clock, I have no problem saying that I am not the clock. When it comes to this body, however, do I say I am not the body? I am the self, I am this body. So this ignorance manifests in our life. And therefore, in the very first verse of the 13th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram iti abhijiyate. Etadyo vetitam prahu kshetrajnya iti tadvida. He kaunteya, he Arjuna, Idam shariram, this body is called kshetra. It is object. And the one who is the knower of the body is kshetrajna, the subject. The subject is a conscious being. The object is unconscious. So it happens that what I call I is a union of the subject and object. I take this whole package as a subject. This package, the whole of it is not subject. It is the union of subject and object. Part of it is object. What is it? Idam shariram. Idam. This body is idam. This body is object. That also includes the gross body, subtle body. They're all object. So that is all we have to know as kshetrajna, self-knowledge. And for that, the teaching. And for that mind. So in this session, we are going to address the mind part of it. Other parts Swami already told you. So that may come a little bit. Of course, you can't do without it. The Vedantic teacher has to talk about, self and Brahman whenever we get an opportunity. But basically, our focus is going to be on that means of knowledge, which is a prepared mind. Is samskritam antahkaranam. Yatantopya akritatmana asamskritatmana nainam pashyanti. Lord Krishna says that those who have not prepared their mind, they do not see. In spite of being told, in spite of even thinking, in spite of whatever the meditation, whatever they do. So everything of course is required, but this is one of the most important things. Therefore, this mind, a prepared mind, is a very important element in the self-knowledge. Only when the mind is prepared in that manner, that the knowledge takes place. And if the mind is not prepared, the knowledge does not take place. Unfortunately. Therefore, this prepared mind, samskritam antahkaranam, shuddham antahkaranam, the pure, refined mind, it becomes a very important ingredient in the taking place of knowledge. Therefore, Lord Krishna calls his mind knowledge. Can you believe that? Even though the mind is not knowledge. Mind is a means of knowledge. But if that prepared mind were not there, the knowledge would not take place. Therefore, Lord Krishna glorifies this prepared mind also as knowledge. And the mind would not be prepared unless it is refined by the practice of the values. So what are these values? The practice of these values refines the mind. shapes the mind and makes the mind worthy or prepared for the self-knowledge. Therefore, these values also are indirectly the means of knowledge. Therefore, Lord Krishna glorifies the values also as knowledge. Etat jnanaviti proktam. The 11th verse says, here Arjuna, this group of virtues is called jnanam. It is called knowledge. So knowledge can take place when the teaching is there. The teaching can become effective when the refined mind is there. And the mind can be refined only when there are these values in our life, otherwise not. So without these values, it is not possible to refine the mind. We can do anything, other things. But if these values are not there, the mind does not get refined. Therefore, this becomes inevitable, absolutely required. Therefore, Lord Krishna glorifies the values also as knowledge because they are an essential ingredient in taking place of the knowledge. Etat jnanaviti proktam. So if happiness is important to us, then the knowledge of the true nature of self becomes important because otherwise we can't be happy. As long as I take myself to a limited being, I cannot be happy. No, Swami, what are you talking about? I mean, a lot of people are happy. We also feel happy when they have the idlis in breakfast or payasam in the lunch. We are happy. That is true. How do you say that only the person who has a self-knowledge is happy and we are not happy? But then when I enjoy that payasam, what am I enjoying? Payasam, I guess everybody knows by now, because people coming from other countries will not know what is payasam. Cake, pastry. What am I enjoying? I think that I'm enjoying payasam. Really speaking, I am enjoying myself at that time. So whatever it is payasam, or some food, or a movie, or anything for that matter, just creates a condition in my mind when I am able to enjoy my own self. So today we need so many things to be able to enjoy ourselves. And poor payasam has a diminishing value. You know, the first cup of payasam gives great happiness if you like it. Second cup of payasam, little reduced. Third cup of payasam, less. Fourth cup of payasam, nothing. Fifth cup of payasam, and therefore, fortunately or unfortunately, there is only one source of happiness, and that is the self. And therefore, the one who is ignorant of self, who takes self to a limited being, can never be happy because any time I have this idea that I am a limited being, I become unhappy. So what makes me unhappy, you know? This perception of myself that I am a limited being. I am a helpless person. That's what is a cause of unhappiness. Meaning the self-ignorance is a cause of unhappiness. And therefore, self-knowledge is inevitable. There is no choice. No choice in knowing the self. And therefore, no choice in having a refined mind. And therefore, no choice in having these values which are the means of the refined mind. So that is why values are very important to us. Let's call it value of values, you know. Basically, what is most important to me is happiness. And since I am the nature of happiness, therefore I become the most important to me. That way we are all selfish. What matters to me first is I. First I take care of that, then I can do whatever I want to do with others. But I always comes first. What is important, most important in life? What is most valuable? Happiness. And therefore, self is the most valuable. Therefore, that mind, which reveals the true nature of self, becomes valuable. And therefore, these values, which bring about the refined mind, also become valuable. You follow? That is how these values are the most valuable. By enabling me to enjoy my own self, to abide in the happiness which is myself. So the value of values. So not only are the values important to us, but we'll discuss, it's important that we should know how valuable these values are. We should know the value of values. And then only we have the motivation. We have the motivation to do something provided it is valuable to us, otherwise we are not motivated. Never, in our mind, first should get established the value of value. That's how these values are valuable, not only valuable, the most valuable. More we understand that, easier it becomes to follow the value. So, first value of values, and then we'll proceed to discuss values one by one. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritam Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvara